Let's get a check on some of the top business headlines of the day with Yuka Roya. Hi there, Yuka.
Hello, Catherine.
You're starting us off in the United States. President Trump has sounded a bit of an optimistic tone on North Korea's stance towards the US. However, at the same time, Washington has also imposed some new sanctions on Chinese and Russian individuals and entities about their ties with Pyongyang. What's going on here?
That's right, a bit of a contradictory move. Donald Trump says Kim Jong-un is starting to respect the US and that something positive could come about. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson also said he was pleased that North Korea had not carried out any nuclear or missile tests since the latest round of UN sanctions. But while making this diplomatic overture, the US is increasing economic pressure. On Tuesday, the Treasury Department announced new sanctions against 10 Chinese and Russian firms and 6 individuals, accusing them of helping Pyongyang develop weapons of mass destruction or of trading North Korean oil and coal. Japan's foreign minister also urged China to abide by the rules. Take a listen.
There are loopholes in the UN Security Council resolutions against North Korea, and they must be done away with. I think it's important for China to abide the international rules, as it represents a significant portion of the global economy. I hope China will behave in a way that is appropriate for a global power.
Now let's take a look at the financial markets. The markets have pulled back from Tuesday's previous rally. As you can see, the bourses in London and Paris opened slightly in the red, and Germany's DAX was flat at the open. Air France KLM is among the best performing shares so far this morning. And let's take a look at some other business headlines at this hour. Uber's series of scandals and ongoing leadership turmoil are starting to affect the company's value. 4 mutual funds that have invested in the ride-hailing service have marked down their stakes by as much as 15%, according to the Wall Street Journal. The company's board has not been able to find a successor to Travis Kalanick, who stepped down in June. Japan's Toshiba is prioritizing talks with US data storage company Western Digital to sell its memory chip business. This as negotiations with a previously preferred bidder have stalled. Toshiba is trying to sell its profit-making flash memory unit to cover colossal losses in its nuclear business. And Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, along with 5 other major drinks companies, will limit the sugar content of drinks sold in Singapore. The agreement is part of the city-state's campaign to fight diabetes. The drink makers will remove products containing more than 12% sugar by 2020.
Good news for teeth in Singapore then, it seems. All right, so now we've been reporting in our main news update about the election in Angola today. It's a general election, so MPs and a president are being picked. Yuka, this is the 3rd biggest economy in Africa, but it is facing a bit of a slowdown.
That's right. Angola has suffered a huge blow following the fall of oil prices. The country is the 2nd biggest oil producer in Africa, but revenues have gone down by at least 1/3 over the past 2 decades. Now, the government is trying to diversify the economy, as Simon Harding takes a look.
This father of 8 can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. His home lacks vital commodities such as drinking water. At 65 years old, this former Angolan army officer doesn't receive any benefits from the state. He is unemployed, just like 20% of the population.
I'm in a difficult place because I can't find any work and I don't have any other means of making a living. I don't receive any aid from the Veterans Union. My children can barely afford to go to school. Some don't even go. Those who do go must travel long distances, and sometimes they have to miss 1 or 2 weeks of school because we don't have any money for transportation.
Due to the fall in petrol prices, Angola is going through an economic crisis. The country is staying afloat thanks to its hydrocarbon industry. But according to the IMF, the country's growth should be 1.2% this year, a long way off the 22% it recorded 10 years ago. Experts say that to survive, Angola must diversify its economy.
We have artificial wealth, but not actual wealth. Wealth is achieved when you have serious investments in education and in health. That means that Angola must seriously invest in these 2 sectors if we want to get out of the crisis we're currently in.
Many hope that a new leader, the first new head of state in 40 years, will be able to reverse the current trend and bring new stability to the country.